Barakta Yahweh, Barakta Yahushai, Barakta Yahweh, Barakta Yahushai, Barakta Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rokal Kadash. Dub honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of Great Mystery and Ruel, and to the Akim and the Falcons of the earth preaching the gospel from Ashak Yahushai in sincerity and in truth and diligence of mind in these last days and times. And you just have to agree, man, that the Lord Hamashak Yahushai has his angels, going to and fro the earth, watching upon his elect. And it's beautiful, man, to see that the account of the angels in the scriptures is on point. And you can always look at Esau's so-called UFO or UAP propaganda. He never wants to admit that the angels of the Lord are the ones appearing in the heavens with their vehicles. And they'll never want to talk about the Holy Scriptures, man. They'll never want to direct people's attention in that path. And you can't expect them to do so. So it's incumbent upon the men of the Lord to keep on doing what we need to do as part of the Holy Scriptures and letting the people know that the angels are making themselves known. They're making their presence visible in these last days and times. They're sending a message to the elites of this world that their rulership is about to be over. All right. So I read from the book of Daniel chapter 4. This is the vision that King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon had. All right. So I'm just going to focus on verse 13. It says, I saw in the visions of my head upon my bed, behold, a watcher and an holy one came down from heaven. And that is a heavy precept right there. All right. So this is, more than what? Say about 3,000 years ago or so. Just imagine, man. Just imagine, the people back then knew exactly what the Most High has already set in place. And Esau doesn't really want to admit to it, man. So it just shows you that, Esau is basically a contradiction, man. He doesn't want to give glory to the Most High. So what does he do? He's going to keep on pushing out false doctrine. So when you switch over to the interlinear and look up that word for watcher, it says Ayar. Okay, you have the I, you have the Ya, and you have the Ra. All right, and that's in H5894. Then it says what? Waking, watchful, wakeful one, watcher, angel. All right, and the angels don't sleep. All right, they don't eat, they don't drink. All right, so you could always read further. All right, it says in the Strong's definition, Ayar. All right, it says a watcher, that is an angel, a guardian, watcher. All right, so there's so much in the Holy Scriptures, all right, concerning the presence of the angels, of how they monitor the affairs of men. Then it says in the Gesenius Hebrew Chaldee lexicon, all right, Ayar, a god, a watcher, a name of angels in the later Hebrews, from their guarding the souls of men. All right, and then it shows you Daniel chapter 4 verse 10, 14 and 20. So the people that study the scriptures, and I also associated with the with the Blue Letter Bible. They tell you right there, they put that right there. They said they guarding the souls of men. And what do you think happened in the Garden of Eden? Right, the Lord had his angels block the minds, of Adam and Eve and the people from having access to that knowledge of the tree of good and evil. All right. So you also go to the book of Ezekiel. All right, Ezekiel chapter 10. All right, if you look at if you read verse 8, it says, "And there appeared in the cherubims the form of a man's hand under their wings." So it's giving a description of the angels. All right. So you see that if you read verse 7, it tells you, "And one cherub stretched forth his hand from between the cherubims under the fire that was between the cherubims, and took thereof, and put it into the hands of him that was clothed with linen, who took it and went out." So this is a good precept right here. Ezekiel chapter 10, it tells you about the vision of what the prophet Ezekiel saw. All right. And there's so much, there's so many accounts in the scriptures that tells you about the presence of the angels. All right. And then you read verse 18 and 19. Yeah, the whole chapter is good, but I'm just going to get a couple of points. Then verse 18 says, "Then the glory of the Lord Yahweh departed from off the threshold of the house, and stood over the cherubim. And the cherubims lifted up their wings and mounted up from the earth in my sight." So what does that, vision describe to you in these last days and times? The UAPs, all right? So the angels could use the UAPs, to move around, to convey a message, or they could just show up as they are. All right. And verse 19, "And the cherubims lifted up their wings and mounted up from the earth in my sight. And they went out." Right. When they went out, the wheels also were beside them, and everyone stood at the door of the east gates of the Lord Yahweh's house, and the glory of the power of Israel was over them. Yeah, so you see that the chariots and the angels were present. So what else? What else can Esau say, man? Then verse 20 says, "This is the living creature that I saw under the power of Israel by the river Shabar, and I knew they were the cherubims." All right. And when you look at the word for cherubim, the Hebrew word, so you see that's karawab yam. All right. Karawab yam. All right. So look, all right, then it says what's all right, that's Karawab. All right. Karawab says an angelic being as Gardens of Eden, as flanking the Most High's throne, as an image form hovering over the Ark of the Covenant, as a chariot of Yahweh. All right. All right, and it says cherub. All right, so it says in the theology of the Hebrews, that is in the revelation of the Most High Yahweh, a being of a sublime and celestial nature. And that leads us to the book of 1 Corinthians, the 15th chapter. All right. So you could always, take a good look, man, at what the scriptures has in store, man. There's nothing hidden when it comes to the knowledge of the Heavenly Father from the elect, all right, that He wants us to know, all right, because His secrets are revealed to His servants, the prophets, all right. So, book of 1 Corinthians chapter 15, it tells you, what you have to be aware of, okay. Yeah, the whole chapter is good, all right. You just gotta scroll down. All right, 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 39. All right. So it says, all flesh is not the same flesh, but there is one kind of flesh of men, another flesh of beasts, another flesh or of fishes, and another of birds. There are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial. All right. Celestial bodies talking about the angels, the spiritual world, the spiritual realm, where you have the Most High, Yahweh Shai, the elders, and the angels, all right? But the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. So what else, man? What else is there to ignore when they're talking about all these, UFOs and UAPs, man? And all these reports Esau said he's going to release. And they kept delaying. So it just shows you that they don't want to talk about, the scriptures. They don't want to direct any attention to the Most High. So that's the reason why we have to keep on preaching the gospel. So the book of Sirach, chapter 49, verse 8, it says, it was Ezekiel who saw the glorious vision. All right. Yeah, it was Ezekiel who saw the glorious vision which was shewed him upon the chariot of the cherubims. All right. So you'll be surprised, man. You'll be surprised what the Lord has been revealing to the prophets of old. Okay. And then you go to the book of Acts. All this I'm just showing is just milk precepts. All right. And it's undeniable, man. It's undeniable that, the works of the Lord, the presence of the Lord can be denied. All right. Okay. It can't be denied anymore, man. So Acts chapter 5, verse 17. I'm going to read all the way to verse 20. Then the high priest rose up, and all they that were with him, which is the sect of the Sadducees, and were filled with indignation, and laid their hands on the apostles, and put them in the common prison. But the angel of the Lord by night opened the prison doors, and brought them forth, and said, Go, stand and speak in the temple to the people all the words of this life. And that's another evidence right there, man, that the existence of the Heavenly Father's angels cannot be disputed. All right. And that's an excellent faith booster, man, because the Lord will always send you help when you're in a jam. All right. Either they show themselves physically to you, or they open up your mind to give you the wisdom that you apply to move on to the next level. All right. And there's so many times at camps, man, the angels just open up your mind, and make you understand the precepts even more, and that helps. It helps brothers grow in the spirit. All right. And then our final precept will be from the book of Revelation, chapter 18, verses 1 to 2. All right. And it says, and after these I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. See that? What can be said about that? What can be said about that? All right. See that? Revelation chapter 18 verse 1. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. Oh yeah. So when you compare this to what the king Nebuchadnezzar had in his dream, in his vision, you'd be surprised, man, what what you're going to see in these last days, man, during the time of Jacob's trouble. When the Lord will lift up a standard in your favor against the workers of iniquity. All right. And verse 2 says, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. And that's the judgment of America. All right. So just like you had Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, talk about his vision to Daniel. All right. And in these last days, we in Babylon, aka America. And the downfall of America is already around the corner. That's the reason why there's so much tension around the world, and our people are beginning to wake up. All right. And good thing, the angels are aware of what's going on, and we're getting help from above. So that's the point that I came. Never ignore the presence of the evidence pointing that the angels do exist. Shalom.